may remember me from my television shows in the 1980s and 90s, and now I host two regularly live-streamed virtual magic shows. One is a showcase for some of the greatest magicians in the world, and the other is a talk show featuring some of the most inspiring conjurers of our times. Welcome now to Magical People. And thank you, everybody, for joining us this day for this edition of Magical People Live. My regular co host, she's off sick this week. Hopefully, she'll be back next week. And I'm so excited that we've got our very special guest, Luna Shimada. She'll come up in a couple of minutes. But right now, as is our usual format, I'm going to share an experiment of the mind with all of you. And I would like to call up, if I might, and this might be a surprise for Mr. Tommy Burnett. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Tommy Burnett. Thank you for joining us this day, Tommy. And I also want to bring up, if I may, the great Kevin Peel as well. We're all going to have a few things to talk about in a couple of minutes. Hello there, Kevin. How does it feel, Kevin, to be on the other side, if you will, of the camera? Usually you're producing the various shows and we're the guests.
Terrifying.
Well, I promise you this won't hurt me. Now, what we're going to do is conduct an experiment of the mind. And what I've done, I'll just bring this down a wee bit. I've prepared. Am I ever really prepared, guys? I don't know. But I've prepared a number. They're not ESP symbols per se. I wish they were because I'm very familiar, as you all know, with the Zener cards or Zener cards, as some refer to them as. But we shall deal out about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards, and I believe that Tommy and Kevin and our audience as well can see these relatively well. We'll bring some in.
You see most of them. The
There.
ones on the end are
Hmm.
Yep.
going on the camera.
Question mark. Question mark. Door.
Okay,
Uh,
go
one of my favorites, a magnifying glass,
okay.
clock, eyeball, home, lightning bolt. Some of these may have metaphysical significance. They may, if you will, reflect our subconscious, i.e., the tarot and Carl Jung's interpretations. But for now, we're going to treat these as straight symbols and ones that grab. I'm going to ask right off the bat, Tommy, as you're glancing at these, does one stand out more than the other?
Yeah, the door.
The door. Very.
Yeah,
I will ask you, how come?
in 30 seconds or less. No. Uh, well, I
It's a
mean,
metaphor, isn't it?
yeah, on a metaphysical level, the doorway can be very, can have a lot of meanings. And for me, um, you know, when I try and meet somebody and try and get to know them, it's almost like trying to crack the door open a little bit.
Yes,
Um, so
absolutely.
I can look inside and they can look inside mine. Um, so it's
Absolutely.
a very intimate kind of thing for me.
Excellent. Kevin, which one stands out for you? Question mark, lightning bolt, house, eyeball. I don't know why I said eyeball. I can almost picture
Oh,
holding this eyeball in my hand. Don't ask me why. It's the strangeness within me. The magnifying glass and the clock. Which one stands out for you, sir?
oh, yeah, I mean,
You need to unmute, Kev. Kevin, I'm going to ask that you unmute
Am
yourself.
I unmuted again?
There we go.
You
Yes,
know,
Yeah.
we're
So
good. Which one?
this truly amazing. I was going to go for the door. So my second choice is the eye.
The eye. Excellent. Any particular reason?
It's the all-seeing eye.
Very, very good. Well, you know what they say, the eyes have it. Well, I'm going to show
Mhm.
you all something relatively interesting. I believe it's interesting. I made two predictions before we went to air, and one of them may look familiar to you. It is the eye, the all-seeing eye, the metaphysical eye, if you will. And Tommy who opens doors for not only himself and other people. We have the door, not the group, the door, but the door. So I think we did pretty well on this experiment.
uh,
It
uh,
was it was tough, but it is reflective a little bit of who and what we truly are. I want to promote very, very briefly Tommy's show and then the Wednesday night show. Kevin, let's go for it. Tommy, you have a Valentine's-ish show coming up.
yes, I do. It is called Hugs and Kisses. XOXO. And it is a very romantic comedy mentalism show. And it's in Midtown Manhattan the day after Valentine's. So um, a lot of people won't be able to go out on Valentine's Day proper because it's a weeknight, but maybe they can. But in any case, it's only $20 in advance and 25 at the door. Perfect for singles, couples, um, groups, singles, whatever. And but we're gonna have
Excellent.
a lot of we're gonna have a lot of fun. You can get tickets down here by doing the QR code thingy, and it'll take you right to where you can buy your ticket. So hopefully I will see people there because I hate performing for myself.
Well, some of us do. Some of us sit in our bedroom and just we play guitar
I,
or do whatever, and
I
we
do it
imagine
all
there's
the
people here.
time.
Yeah, yeah. So all of you out there, if you're in the New York City area, attend Tommy's show. You can get more information from his website, Tommy
Yeah.
Burnett, the man who knew way too much, not enough, or what?
Hmm.
Mm.
Yes,
Thank you,
very
Tommy.
much.
Perfect. And Kevin, I'm so excited and honored. Many of us here are regulars on the Open Mic Magic Theater show Wednesday.
Indeed.
Look it
Yep.
up on Facebook. Let's promote the next one, which is when?
Coming up next Wednesday, would you believe?
No.
Who knew?
And what
And
times?
so 9 p.m. UK time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific.
Excellent.
And over the last couple of weeks, we've been featuring not only our magnificent magicians who appear week after week, as you yourself do, and you will be opening, uh, and but we've been featuring some magicians who also are creators and have got some material coming up, which they are launching at Blackpool. And this week is no exception. We've got the fantastic Scott Patton coming in, and Wayne Goodman is coming in as well to talk about things that they have scheduled for Blackpool. So
Excellent.
everybody who's lucky enough to be coming to Blackpool can get a little sneak preview of those creators' work coming up.
Very exciting. We'll look forward to that Wednesday. Check
Yep.
out Facebook, look up Open Mic Magic Theater supporters, and you'll be taken there. Or look at my Facebook page as well. I'm always hopefully promoting it.
But of
So,
course, Tommy Burnett, who you've just mentioned, is also on our show.
and in our audience, we
I
have
am.
people too. Yes, yes. the great Rabina's on it as well,
Yeah.
and you guys will be joining me on my Friday night, my first Friday of the month show coming up next week. But we'll chat about that later. I want to thank you so much, Tommy. I want to thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks,
Thank
Michael.
you, and Kevin as well. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Michael.
Lots to look forward to in this virtual world. I never realized that. I believe that it's the future right here and now. And it helps us. It helps entertain us, but we also get out there that way as well. I want to now introduce, I would love to call her a friend of mine. We sure have a lot in common. I felt that in essence when I first saw her online. She is the daughter of the world famous magician. We'll chat very briefly about that as well, but that's not why she's here. I have her here to share her quote unquote, because we're always learning, does it ever stop? I was going to call her wise. She is a wise woman. And we're all still trying to learn, and we're groping in the dark to try to evolve, if you will. And I'm so excited and honored to welcome to our virtual stage this day the great Luna Shimada. Let's put our hands together for Luna. Yay. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us this day, Luna. I'll ask you to unmute yourself, please, because simply because I'm not tech savvy, I don't know how to do that, but you will. You will know how to unmute yourself. So, there we go. Yay.
Okay.
Oh, thank goodness. The anxiety that was building within me because I like my tech stuff, but I'm still learning, and it's like, oh dear,
And,
will
s- and Zoom can be, if you're not familiar with it, luckily I've done enough Zooms now, so I kind of know where the unmute button is now. The first couple times though, I was kind of like, where?
That's a little bit more than what I know, Luna, I have to say. But I
Well,
will
hi there, and thank you for having me.
thank you so much for joining us. I briefly want to show your sizzle reel that you allowed me to lift from YouTube. Yes, folks, I'll openly admit that I did that. I took it off of Facebook. Oh, now the Facebook police are going to punish me. So let's have a very brief look at one aspect of the great Luna Shimada. Check this out. And there we go. I'm so excited when I saw that sizzle reel. I have to tell you, Luna, you succeeded where many performers, many of us performers have failed. And that's to depict, and I get the sense, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that an aspect of yourself, of your true self, is actually depicted on stage. And that is so hard to do. I sensed that power. I sensed that one of the aspects of you is boom, it's there. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't we at our most powerful when we can subconsciously or consciously convey our true self, or at least an aspect of it, to our audience on some level or another?
Yeah, well, it's not something that everyone can do. or should do. It's funny that I said that, but I am a magic mentor, so I've worked with a lot of people over the years to help them, particularly develop their character, and do that work to sort of get in touch with what their innate talent is. And there it's not a cookie cutter kind of formula. I mean, every person is so unique and such an individual, and I'll say not everyone is cut out to be a magician either. So, for me, it's like I don't really feel that when I started doing magic that that was really my path. I had not, like so many people that intentionally do magic or have become magicians, made the decision, I'm going to be a magician, that's not how it happened for me. I actually resisted that. I'm like, I'm not going to do magic, that's my dad, that's not me. But magic pulled me in, it called me back, because of the choices that I made in life, because of the path that I chose to walk, and because of the discoveries that I made. I got to a point in my life where it started to make sense for me to perform magic. But when I did return to the stage, um, I had decided that I was going to perform magic as myself, which was, quite contrary to the way a lot of performers perform in the magic world. So, it was met with quite a bit of scrutiny and judgment, and that's also when I realized that I was different, and that not everyone was going to really understand it either. I have stayed true to my form over the years and been through many different, evolutions, and I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay because I didn't enter this field to compete with anybody, first of all. I didn't enter this field to become popular or validated. I didn't enter magic to prove myself. At first, I did because I have a famous father who's a magician. And even though it wasn't my intention to come into magic to compete with him, that was just automatically what everyone did by default. So then it started to become kind of an issue, like, oh gee, I'm just trying to be me, and everyone wonders why I'm not more like him. So that became a whole nother sort of thing that I had to figure out how to overcome and work around. But yeah, it is like everything. Performance is a very personal journey. I'm sure that in other fields of entertainment, it's the same thing. Music is a very soulful kind of artistry. So, you can tell any songwriter that most of the time when they're writing a song, it comes straight from their heart, straight from their soul. That's not how magicians are, though. Magicians are creating strictly with the idea to entertain the audience. And so in a sense, and most magicians kind of take that sort of like approach. They're looking for that validation. They're looking to fool you, to trick you, to, you know, I mean, look at Penn and Teller's show. It's all focused around fool me, It's like, and so it's suddenly become this very competitive field where, oh, I've got to, it's one-upmanship is what it is.
Yes.
And I was very much moving in the opposite direction of that. In fact, for someone that's been in magic as long as I have, I'm probably the most undecorated magician in the business. I haven't got any awards. I haven't been, I haven't received accolades. I very rarely perform at magic conventions, not because I don't want to, but they just don't book me. And that's okay. I've accepted that. And I barely, I think I've been on one, maybe two magic magazines in my entire career. Crazy, right? People can't believe it when I say that, but it's true. Mainstream magic or mainstream magic business has never really been my path, I guess. And I learned to accept that a long time ago. and realize that, well, that's okay. My favorite band is Rush, and they were one of the most brilliant prog bands, musicians on the planet. They didn't get acknowledged or indoctrinated into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame until they were almost retired. So, you know, that sort of thing does not define you. It doesn't define who you are. It doesn't define your talent, doesn't define your artistry. It just doesn't define you, at all. And and I thought, well, I'm an indie artist. That's what I am. If I have to put a label on it, I'm not Britney Spears. I'm Annie DeFranco.
I love it. I love it. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. I find too with myself, I started off as a commercial magician and all the agents were banging down my door and all that. And I had the TV show, which helped as well. But as time went on and I was exploring and searching for the real me, with a capital M, if you will, through meditation and other disciplines as well, I found it's not important anymore. All those things that you just referred to, Luna,
Yeah,
I really couldn't care less about. Well, I have one award that was given to me a couple of years ago, but that was never or not recently my goal in the last
yeah,
10 years. I just want to share and I
yeah,
want to express an extension or extend part of myself to my audience. It's just a way of giving now. And if I mystify them, if I entertain them, great. But really, and if I get them thinking a little bit, as well, which with my metaphysics, I hope I do get
yeah.
them looking inward a little bit as well. But yeah, things are always evolving, and I
They
get
are.
right.
And this whole idea of exclusion or not being included in, with the popular gang is really just I came to accept the fact that that's just the price that I have to pay in order to live an authentic life and to
Yes,
stay true to myself, right?
yes,
And that's
absolutely.
okay. I mean, it's kind of wonderful actually, and I love it. I love my life, and I love where I am, and I love that I have the freedom. That's
Yes,
the most important thing, is the freedom and the
absolutely.
creative freedom that I get to enjoy, that I could just go out and do whatever I want, and I don't have to, fit into a mold. I don't have to seek approval for it. It's just who I am, and it's how I do
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
totally. One of the things I love that you do, and thanks to your Facebook page, I came across it. It's like, oh, this is touching something within me as well. Are your beautiful works of art. I'm going to call them works of art,
Yeah.
your jewelry. And oh, we can explore that on so many levels, couldn't we?
That
First,
is, yeah.
right, the
Yeah.
beauty of it, the intrinsic true magic,
Mhm.
MAJICK of them.
Thank you.
The well, it's true.
Yeah.
You know, you just moved me. In any case,
Yeah.
yeah, something about your jewelry moves me. And when something moves me, I know that there's truth with a capital T to it. And
Yeah.
very few things at this point in my life move me. Some people do, certain people, you do, your jewelry does. Some people who are here tonight in our audience move me as well. I'm very grateful to know them as well. But your jewelry is almost like a stepping stone to another world, which is really an inner world, which is really
Mhm.
ourselves, which is, and I can go on and on, but I won't. But I would love you, and I don't know if you've prepared or
I have
have
some things
some
I
of
can
you.
show you, but yeah.
That would
First,
be great.
I'd like to explain a little bit about how that kind of evolved. I have always been a big lover of jewelry, and so was my mother. That passion for jewelry was really passed on to me from her. Both my parents loved to wear jewelry, and they were always adorned with bracelets and rings, and it became kind of like their trademark even. And so I sort of grew up with this appreciation, but when I was young, I thought that it was a status symbol. Oh, they wear a lot of gold, a lot of diamonds, a lot of, like a lot of people wear jewelry as a status symbol. But many, many years later, my mother and I were having a conversation, and she explained to me, because I always used to wear cheap jewelry, and I was a hippie, so I didn't wear like the expensive stuff, like they did. Uh, and she said, she explained to me, she says it's, jewelry is powerful. It's more than just a status symbol. It is, the stones have power, and precious metals have power and energy in them. And so they are talismanic in that regard, which is why people wear certain pieces of jewelry they never take off, right? I have, for years and years, I wore an Atocha, silver real from the Atocha wreck. That was my talisman. I never took that off. And then one day, you know, a lover bought me a necklace, and I took it off for the first time in years and put that necklace on, and then that coin got lost, stolen actually. And it was devastating, and I was like, whoa, what does that mean? It was crazy.
Really.
But so this has always been a personal passion of mine. I have collected pieces of jewelry over the years from that were made by other people, but the jewelry after a while would always wear out or it would break. And then I would put it in a little baggie and I would save it. And I had literally like a whole drawer full of these broken pieces of jewelry that I had saved over the years, whether they were beaded or whatever, beautiful pendants, things like that. And the other thing that I have done for years and years is collected crystals. I'm a rock and mineral crystal aholic, and just tons of crystals. They're everywhere, all over the house, on the windowsills. I've entire cabinets full of them. They're just everywhere. Love them, always have. And I'm very proficient and very knowledgeable in crystal lore and crystal, minerals and their powers and their properties and all that. So I don't know. Something just kind of came over me. I had bought a book on jewelry making years ago, and then it just got shelved because life took over. And then around September, I was just going through some things. I was feeling a need to express myself creatively. And I was just walking through, Walmart one day, and I came into the craft section and I saw these beautiful crystal beads, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm broke. I really can't afford to buy this stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. Bought about $50 worth of beads and went home and just started. And magic happened. It just kind of took over, and I realized, okay, this is something that I need to start doing, and realize that, with all the turbulence and turmoil that people are feeling right now, I felt that making crystal jewelry can be so healing and so therapeutic for people, because the frequency and vibrational energies of stones and crystals are so stable. They don't fluctuate like our energy does. Our energy is constantly
Question.
fluctuating. Yeah.
Here's a technical question for you.
Yeah.
From my teachings or what
Yes.
I was learning, crystals are amplifiers generally, stones are steady.
Hmm. Yes.
Yes, no?
Yes, yes. So, well, every stone and crystal has a particular frequency
Yes,
signature that
yes,
you can tune into. Quartz and rutilated quartz and a lot of the crystal quartz are amplifiers. So, think magnifying glass, right?
yes,
So, if you're
yes,
depressed and you're wearing a quartz, maybe not such a good idea unless it's balanced with some other type of stone that can, neutralize those energies, like black tourmaline, for instance, is
yes,
a very
yes.
powerful stone for absorbing and grounding, neutralizing negative energy. And I
It's
don't mean
true.
like negative, like bad behavior energy, which is, of course, a result of that. But negative, everything in the world, everything in the universe is negative and positive polarities.
Yes,
And
yes,
so, when you think of it in those terms, a black tourmaline stone will balance and ground that negative frequency, thereby restoring balance. So, if I'm having a particularly bad day and I'm very moody, like my son was having a little bit of a meltdown one day, and I took my tourmaline, bracelet off, and I said, "Here, put this on," And it was amazing because I literally saw within 5 minutes, he just like his whole energy field just shifted,
Yes.
and he calmed down and he wasn't, and I'm like, and after about 10 or 15 minutes, I just looked at him and I'm like, you feel better? He goes, I do actually, so this stuff really works. I mean, it's considered pseudoscience and, woo woo, I guess some people would say, but, there's definitely something to it.
Absolutely.
And so I make jewelry pieces that specifically tune into certain type of energies, right? And so every time I put a piece out there and I post it, I don't just explain what's in it, but I also explain what it could do,
Yes.
for the
Yes.
wearer. And and that's, like, and of course, working with energies, working with chakras, working with color therapy, there's all sorts of things like this piece right here, you know. Hang on, I gotta find the right, there we go.
There. Yeah.
So this piece right here is made out of yellow aventurine and yellow opal, right? Really working with the energy of the yellow spectrum here because the yellow represents the solar plexus, which is
Yes.
our center of will, right? Our powerhouse. And so whenever we feel fatigue or we feel tired or energetically uninspired, it's because we're leaking energy from the solar plexus,
Yes.
right? This right here is a rutile quartz. I found a very talented, creative wire maker that I started working with and getting these pendants from. Because I don't do wire work. My focus is on crystals and stones and, working with the beaded elements. But sometimes I like to add, little pendants, little talismans to the chains, right? The whole thing is a talisman,
Yeah.
but I particularly loved this one, and it is a rutile quartz. So rutile quartz is, again, it's an enhancer, right? So what we have here is a necklace that could increase your energy, it could increase your focus, it can brighten your day. It can put you in a good mood, right? All those things that give you energy, right? It definitely corresponds with the sun, and it has some very strong healing properties as well. So if you feel that you are being energetically attacked, then this will definitely help restore a lot of that energy that you're leaking out, right? So, that's just an example of
It's so
what I do.
exciting. Do
This
you
one is a
find
part of my little fairy core,
I have a
and this
question?
is amethyst.
I love
Amethyst
amethyst
is
as well for all the
exactly,
reasons. Do you
yeah.
find that there's a difference energetically when you're using or your friend is using copper versus silver in their
Mhm.
wire work?
Yeah. So I prefer sterling silver, and
Sure.
but the metals are difficult to materials to attain. They're very expensive. First of all, the rutile quartz is wrapped in sterling silver. I've tried to use as much silver, real silver. I end up using a lot of stainless. Um, some of the things have just, regular, alloy beads. They're usually just decorative spacers. I use a minimal amount of those in there because you need something to sometimes connect it because there are certain stones that shouldn't touch each other,
Yes. Absolutely.
but still work together, but should not be like right up against each other. So that's why you need that little metal there to sort of neutralize it. I love copper. Copper is a powerful conductor, but it also depends on what stones you're working with.
Exactly. Here's
Yeah.
another question as well. When you acquire your stones and or crystals,
Mm,
do you go through the cleansing process? Do you cleanse them
absolutely. Yes.
and set any intentions for them when you're putting them, putting them all together, etc.?
So it's very intuitive for me. I don't know at any given moment when I start beating what it is that I'm going to be working on. I just I'm sort of drawn to certain things, and then I'll just start putting beads into my little dish.
Yeah.
It's very intuitive. I'm also very like mathematically inclined. I don't count, which is really interesting. I just know intuitively how many beads I'm going to need, and I just grab them. I just pinch them and put them in the dish, and then I start working. And it's like, and I was explaining to my son last night. It's like I don't know how I do it, but it's some kind of superpower because I always end up with the exact amount of beads that I need, and
I love
then
it. I
by the
love
time I
it.
finish, I'm literally stringing the last one on and going, whoa, that's crazy.
Let's
How
see
did I do
more.
that?
Let's see more. Let's see more. I feel like a kid in a candy shop.
Yeah.
So, do you have any
So,
more?
yeah, I just wanted to show you this one that I made last night. So, I
Ooh,
fell in love with this little pendant that she made. It's made out of rose gold, and it's a little flower with purple zirconias. And I thought, I don't know, it really kind of appealed to me. I'm not usually a girly girl, but something about this one really stood out. And it's been a work in progress. I tried multiple times to create a chain for it, and nothing was really coming together. And then last night it just kind of hit me, you know, and I created this amethyst beaded chain here. And I love to work with Czechoslovakian crystals too, which is a glass bead, a faceted glass bead. It adds a lot of shine to it, and you know, it's there's just something about the dimension and of the glass that I really love working with that and combining that together. So these are like pink Czechoslovakian beads that just kind of really offset that piece really nicely.
it's
And
gorgeous and calming.
because it's Valentine's, I'm doing a lot of like love themed, you know, type of jewelry right now. I'm trying to get this in the camera correctly. I don't know, it's weird. But okay. So there's that one. And then I do a lot of malas. I do a lot of
I
these type of
noticed. Yes.
mala necklaces too, which are prayer beads. Um, and the traditional one is 108. I don't always do the 108. This one is, but it gets very, very long. And this one is lava beads with black tourmaline. This is my protection mala. I wear this when I'm going to go out into the city and I'm going to deal with a lot of stressful situations. It's got a black tourmaline quartz, black tourmaline like shard on the bottom. Very powerful. I've had that piece for a long time. I used to wear it in a medicine pouch, but now I can wear it on a mala.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I call this the victory. This is a copper angel wing.
Oh,
It's four
wow.
inches long. I thought it was stunning. So I used copper beads and I used malachite and some brass Tibetan beads in there. And most of the beads are lava beads. Love working with lava beads. Developed a real passion for lava rock when I went to Hawaii. Did a lot of work with the deities on the islands there,
Uh-huh.
and just the power of that core energy
Absolutely.
is pretty intense. And I around that time I started wearing a lot of lava rock and lava mala beads around my wrists, and so it's one of my favorite stones to work with because it's molten lava, and I'm thinking, well, that's kind of technically that's like the blood of the earth,
Yes. And
you
it's
know
alive. It's alive.
and it's a living, breathing, porous kind of stone, right? It just feels very powerful to me, but it's also very neutral. So
Yes.
it works with everything. Yeah.
Very, very
And you
cool.
can put the essential oils in it and
Oh my God, of
it absorbs
course.
the essential oils, right? So that you can wear that and get that extra benefit of the
Totally.
aromatherapy.
How hard is it for you to part with your jewelry?
It's hard. I get attached to certain pieces, like the one I'm wearing right now. This is a sapphire beaded chain with labradorite, with blue flash labradorite. I made
Beautiful.
this little kind of Tibetan bead. This was actually a guru bead, but I decided to make a little adornment out of it. I love that it has almost kind of like an Art Deco kind of feel to it, and I'm such a lover of Art Deco in that
Yeah.
period. But
Yes.
also because sapphires, blue sapphires, are my birthstone. So when
Ah,
I finished this and put it around my neck, I'm like, yep, that one's staying with me.
beautiful.
I
Oh,
also made like a ruby chain. This one is made out of kind of raw cut rubies. But
yeah,
so this is just a very simple ruby chain, and it's very long.
beautiful.
I put my little ohm charm on it. You know, it's like a little
Wow.
ohm charm
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
bottom. I make a lot of these little charms. I put little lobster claws on there so I can interchange them because there's a lot to talk about. Um, Moon Dove Creations and Talismans on Facebook and also on Instagram, Moondove. The reason I decided to call it Moondove because my mother was in the later part of her life, she became a psychic counselor. And she
Oh,
was one of the top psychic readers and counselors in Las Vegas. She did it for about 18 years, and her psychic name was Moondove.
oh, wow.
Her magical name was
Beautiful.
Moondove. And it was even on her license plate. Funny. So yeah, when she passed away and I bought this property out here because she loved horses and she always dreamed of living on a ranch because that's where she came from. I named my home Moondove Ranch.
Beautiful.
And then when I was trying to think of a name for my jewelry line, I decided to name it after her since she was the one that really, instilled that passion and awareness of how powerful jewelry is, and how what it could do for you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Moondove Creations and Talismans is the name of my jewelry line now.
Everybody look that up. You won't be sorry. Even on a very superficial level, they're gorgeous. On a
They are,
macro
yeah.
level,
There are a lot of beautiful pieces, and I do some novelty stuff too. But most of the time, the pieces are very powerful. The mala bracelets. This is, if you can't afford like the more expensive pendants and stuff, because some of them are quite pricey, and they're priced according to the cost of materials,
of
obviously,
course.
and time spent. But a mala bracelet is, between 25 and $45, again, depending on beads. This one is one of my favorites. This is my prosperity mala.
Oh,
Everybody needs money, we're all
yeah.
trying to figure out how to uh, align ourselves with the frequency of attraction.
Yes.
And this mala has multiple different types of green stones. I just went with all the green stones, but we've got green garnet and different types of jade and chrysoprase and aventurine, and ever since I put this on, because I was having some challenges with finances this past year as well. It was really, really weird and tough. And I made this bracelet. I made several of them actually, and I had not only is my jewelry line doing really, really well, but I had the best financial month that I've had in a year.
Wow.
So things have definitely shifted for me, and and I'm looking forward to it improving. I'm very excited about possibly getting into some new business, opening a new business this year, working on that. So
Timing
yeah.
is everything, isn't it? Timing is everything. Tuning in, if you will,
Mhm.
is going to sound airy fairy to some. Uh, Tuning into the energies of the universe and where we're guided to go or
Well,
give or all of that. So,
there is so much, like I study so many different things. I study, sacred geometry, I study
yes.
numerology, I study, the stars, I study the moon cycles, I study, the astrological calendars, particularly the lunar calendar,
Yes.
because it affects us for the entire year. We just transitioned into the year of the snake. And I had been having many meditations around the snake, which is a very powerful esoteric symbol, as you know. It shows up everywhere all throughout millennias. And it's never been particularly one of my favorite creatures. Like I was never like, oh, I'm really into snakes. No, that was not really a thing for me. But my mom used to wear this snake ring all the time on her index finger, and she used to call it her prosperity ring.
Ah,
Yeah. And I'm like, why? She
wow.
says snakes represent money, you know?
Wow.
And I'm like, I did not know that, but apparently they are a symbol of prosperity. and healing, and which is why you see the snakes on
Yes.
the caduceus, the Ouroboros, the cycles of
Yes.
life and death, and it's just snakes are everywhere. So, I broke down and decided to buy myself a snake
I
this
saw that
year.
on Facebook. You have a
Yeah, so I was
picture
like,
of it.
"Welcome to the year of the snake," and I have my little
Yeah.
Kundalini, and his name is Kundalini,
Oh, wow.
and he's a
Brilliant.
rainbow boa, you know. So right now he's just a little bitty baby, but he will someday be about 6 feet long. So
Yes.
I thought,
Yes.
okay, I'm gonna get a snake. I'm gonna get a serious snake. And
Brilliant.
one of the things about me is my connection to animals. I have been very shamanic my whole life, working with spirit animals. I've been raising wolves for the past 25 years. I have
I
two of
bet
them
you
on my
that's one of
property.
your totems. I bet you,
It was one of my totems,
right?
definitely. I did a lot of, when I was doing a lot of the spiritual work, around the fire and stuff. That was definitely, one of the animals that came up for me a lot
Probably
all
raven or
throughout my
crow.
life. Hmm?
Raven or crow as well.
I have a lot of ravens here on my property. So when I showed up here, a whole, do you call it a murder of ravens or murder?
Crows, murder of crows.
Crows, murder of crows.
Crows
Well,
are,
the ravens, they were ravens because they're the big
yeah,
ones.
they're big.
So the previous owner left a trampoline on the property. And when I got my keys, the first day I got my keys, I came and I was here by myself. My kids were in school. I got my keys. I walked out onto the back of the property and the trampoline, and there was a raven sitting on the trampoline. He was literally bouncing on the trampoline, and he was, "Arr, arr," he was welcoming me home, and I was like, "Thank
Yes.
you,
Yes.
thank you for this welcome." And then he just took off and came back 5 minutes later with his entire family. And then he came back,
Oh,
and there were like five more ravens with
oh,
him, and they all sat on that
wow.
trampoline, and they were all caw, caw, caw.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then they dropped
Wow.
little, and then they dropped three tail feathers on the ground when they took off.
Wow.
So and every
Goodness.
every couple weeks or a month they drop an I find these raven feathers all over my property, and I've been collecting them. Like I got a
Yes.
bunch of them now. Like I'll make
Yes.
myself a nice smudge fan out of this.
Perfect. Oh my God.
So
Wow.
yeah, it seems that the ravens have kind of taken a liking to me since I got here. Those and the
Beautiful.
doves. I have beautiful moon doves on the property as well.
Mm,
Little wild ringneck doves.
that's
Yeah.
incredible. I'm going to share briefly a story with you, which you will get. Um, the night my father passed, which
Mhm.
is long ago, right around Father's Day, by the way, he
Yeah.
chose to leave his body. Hmm. Hope I can get through this without getting emotional. I'll be my professional self right now.
And it's okay if you are emotional. That's perfectly fine.
I know. So a close friend of mine took me to the water. She said forest or water, and I said both. So she took me to this cool forest, and there was I think it was a man-made lake. It's quite a while ago, and suddenly, and we're laying there on the grass, and I'm meditating. I'm looking at the water, being part of the water, and whatnot, and absorbing the energies, but giving it back out again. And then all these geese, there must have been about a dozen, they came into my view and they all stopped and they all turned and looked at me.
Yeah.
They connected
Mm-hmm.
and they all in unison turned away and moved off into the water and as a collective moved on.
Yeah.
And I believe that geese represent family, but I believe that was a message from my father.
Yes. Yes, definitely. My mother always told me before she passed that our loved ones, become part of the collective, and part of nature, because we're no longer a drop from the ocean. We are now the ocean. We
Beautiful,
go back to source, and
beautiful.
all of nature is part of that energy field.
Yes.
So whenever she lost somebody, she said, if you, and she told me, she says, when I'm gone, if you turn on the radio and you hear a song, she says, know that that's me talking to you. If a butterfly flutters around you or lands on your hand, that's me, you know. If you see a dragonfly, guide you somewhere, follow it.
Beautiful.
And yeah,
It's
so it was
powerful,
like,
isn't it?
yeah, and I pay attention to things like that now. And I realize
Absolutely.
that when we get ourselves, when we pay attention, and again, that's part of the present moment awareness we were discussing before the interview started, and this is something we should talk about. Our
Yes.
faith and practice entails meditation. My faith and practice, I know you said you meditate too. My faith and practice daily is to meditate. But when I meditate, I don't necessarily sit still and meditate, like,
Right.
meditate. My meditation could be sitting still and doing that. Sometimes it's chanting, because I am a Buddhist as well.
Yes.
And I do, when I feel like I need something a little more rigorous to get my mind out of, um, the monkey brain. I'll
Yes.
just Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and it's a very powerful sort of, because it's vibrational and it's sound and it reverberates through your environment. And
Yes.
so I have found, when I was introduced to the practice of chanting, it was at a very dark moment in my life when I was dealing with some, really violent energies and people, and I needed something powerful to banish these uh, these things out of my life.
Yes.
So I was
Absolutely.
led to the temple, to the Buddhist temple, to the Kaikan, where I began to pick up the practice of chanting, and it helped me through that. So that is also part of my faith and practice. And they're wonderful people too. Love the organization
Yes.
so much. Great
Yes.
people. So that and since a lot of my magic and it revolves around nature and animals and elements and stones and crystals and things like that, um, I have been a practicing Wiccan for over 30 years.
Yes. Yes.
And that's a very, very big part of my life as well. Um, just being intrinsically aware of my environment and treading so gently on it, and
Yes.
respecting it and honoring it,
Absolutely.
not just with my actions, but honoring it in the form of ritual and,
Yes.
and things like
Yes.
that. So that is, my way of living an authentic life is realizing and understanding that everything is sacred.
Absolutely.
you know
Absolutely. Absolutely.
every
Well,
act is sacred. When I'm getting ready for a show, that is a ritual.
yes.
you know
Yes.
when I'm connecting with another human being,
Yes.
that is part of my magic as well. And sometimes my communication with people is not always friendly. Sometimes it's very direct.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel like, hey, you're sleepwalking here and you need to hear something that I have to
Absolutely.
say, you know, because you're
Absolutely.
very, absorbed, and that's an aspect of me and my personality that makes people very uncomfortable.
What's very important, anyone who's blessed enough to have you in their life as a friend or otherwise, wow, because you call it like it is, and most people need that. They don't like it or want it, but too bad. They're gonna probably hear that. And I want to reiterate something with you. I won't go into a forest until I ask permission and then see it and offer tobacco. I follow a number of traditions, one of them being
Yeah,
Native
that's your
American.
tradition. Yeah.
Yes. And the other one is Wiccan and Buddhist. I do the
Yeah.
Om Mani Padme Hung uh,
Mm-hmm. The
chant,
Tibetan Buddhist. Yeah.
which clears energy.
Oh,
So
it's
when I was,
powerful, isn't it? Yeah.
oh, when I was called upon to do what I call ghost busting, for lack of a better term, um,
I did
getting
that
rid
too
of.
for a while when I was young.
Oh wow!
That's a
So
whole nother. rabbit hole. We'll
Yes,
have to
that's a
book
whole
another
other show.
interview just for
Yeah,
that.
totally. And look at the time. I'm sure people are engrossed. I'm sure people are excited. And we've only touched the tip of the iceberg. I'm
Only
so
touch the tip of the
grateful.
iceberg.
I'm so grateful, Luna, that you've joined us this day. You've joined me this day, and
Thank
I
you.
know our lives are that much more enhanced just by your presence and what you've said. So I have
Thank
to thank
you.
you so much for
Thank
who and
you.
what you are. Thank you.
I'm very grateful to you and I'm grateful to my social media community. I try to post something every day that, that is inspiring or honest or authentic, but sometimes I also post a lot of things that are very personal. I'm only human and I also have days where I feel a bit unbalanced, and I'm very grateful for my community on social media because there have been many days where they have saved me, you know, from
Absolutely.
myself. And we all need that. We all need, to be able to check in with each other.
Totally.
It's so
Totally.
important. So, and I'm very grateful for you, and I'm very grateful for everyone out there that's watching. And if you have, if you want to continue these conversations, please feel free to reach out to me, privately or whatever. I love talking about this stuff and I love helping people work through whatever it is they're working through. Um, I've, dedicated my life to growth and evolution and my human revolution, the alchemy of life. It's a commitment, it's a daily practice, and but we can conquer ourselves and we can conquer any challenges and any hardships and any kind
Absolutely.
of pain or trauma that we have been carrying. And just do the work, commit to it, and reach out to me if you need some help and some guidance for that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Beautiful. Luna Shimada, the goddess, thank you so much for joining us this day. We'll see you hopefully soon. This is only the beginning, I feel, on our journey.
Oh, I
And
just wanted to say real quick, I am going to be doing a talk on the Divine Feminine at the Mystify Magic Festival coming up in March. So if any of you are planning to attend that, I will see you there, and I hope you will come to the talk and learn a little bit more about what we talked about here.
excellent. Get in touch with Luna Shimada on Facebook. Mention, though, that you saw her on my show. So you'll have some point of reference. So she'll have some point of reference. And that's it. I'm sure that we'll have a lot more to talk about on future shows. Thank you once again, Luna Shimada. Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. And of course, I want to thank all of you out there who's you're sort of devotees of our show as well. And I'm very grateful for that as well. And we're here every Saturday at 1 p.m. Western time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and 9 p.m. UK time. We'll see you all really soon. Thank you so much.